All right, kiddos, I want to show you how to do a QPA. Some of you turned in wonderful examples of QPAs for The Blue and the Wind by Bob Dylan. We all annotated this together and we saw a lot of different things that we could talk about in this text. There's a lot of metaphors, there's a lot of imagery, um, and a lot of symbolism in this text. And there's certainly plenty of things you can choose from. I wanted you for the QPA, a quick passage analysis is what that stands for, to identify um, an example or two examples of a figurative device. So you would just choose maybe a metaphor, you might choose symbolism, you might choose something that you see two examples of in the text. And for the QPA, you're doing one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different sentences. The first sentence, you are providing a topic sentence. And this is really good practice for writing a body paragraph. That's really why we do this, so that we can practice writing good body paragraphs for analytical essays in English class. So, with the topic sentence, you want to obviously identify the author and you want to identify the work. And so this case it's a song. And so we say in Bob Dylan's song Blowing in the Wind, and we put that in quotations. The singer uses symbolism. So I chose symbolism because I thought that was a pretty strong literary device in this text to try to convince people that they need to wake up and realize the suffering of different groups and find solutions. So that's my topic sentence where I've identified the author, I've identified the text, and I've said what device I'm using, symbolism, and then what he's trying to do with that. So to convince people that they need to wake up. Then I provide an example from the text. And so I used, right, so I used a symbol. So here's this, we'll make this one green maybe, or whatever the next color is. Purple. Okay. So he says, how many times must the cannonballs fly, alluding to the war in Vietnam? Now, I'm describing an illusion. But it's also a symbol. That cannonball is a symbol. And I explain it, which is the next thing, a sentence of analysis. So I'm explaining that. Why is this a symbol? So this phrase uses the symbol of a cannonball to stand for war, giving listeners a visual image to imagine. That's very repetitive, of war. I'm going to just say of war. Okay. So that is my analysis of the evidence. Then I want to provide another example. So I want to provide another example. We're doing this again just to make it meaty. We want to have a meaty paragraph. He then says, how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? We put that in purple because that's another example of evidence. In this, he uses the symbol of the ears as a hyperbole, right? So it's an exaggeration to convey the message that people may be choosing not to listen to the suffering of others. And I'm going to put that in blue again because that's an analysis. And I'm explaining what the purpose of that quote is. Then I want to explain why he uses this device and why it's helpful. So the device of symbolism, so because I've talked about symbolism, I want to explain why symbolism is helpful in this situation. So the device of symbolism is useful because it can quickly create reference to the listener's mind that might take many more words to explain. So he's able to say more than one thing, or he's able to say something deeper by just using one word rather than um, having to explain it in great detail. And then the final thing that we need to do is, wait, let me just make these the right colors. Is explain how the author's use of this device connects to the larger, no, I don't want to do that, theme. So we want to explain how the use of, okay. And so I say, in using this symbol as a tactic, Dylan is able to convey a much deeper message of social change by using fewer and more lyrical words. With this, he writes a song that has paved the way for many more protest songs and songwriters to convey their own important messages of change.